although 1 in 3 women in the United States get one abortion, at least one abortion, by the time they're 45 years old, not many women talk about it. But recently, Chelsea Handler wrote about her experience getting 2 abortions at the age of 16 in Playboy magazine. Now, part of the reason why she did this is, of course, abortion and reproductive rights in general have been a hot button issue, especially after the Supreme Court's ruling on Texas's restrictive abortion law. Now, I love that she shared her story, and I think that it emboldens other women to not feel shame about it or shameful about it. She says, the idea that I would have had a child and raise it by myself at that age, again, she was 16, when I couldn't even find my way home at night was ridiculous. My parents recognized that, so they acted like parents for one of the very first times in my life and took me to Planned Parenthood. I felt parented, ironically, while I was getting an abortion. And when it was over, I was relieved in every possible way. So she did what a lot of 16-year-old girls do. She got involved with a guy that was bad news. They had unprotected sex, and she got pregnant. And she had the ability to make a choice. And, you know, even though she thought maybe I'm going to have this baby, ultimately she decided, no, I'm not ready. And then she got pregnant again in the same year, which, by the way, it takes a lot of courage to admit that. So she's
because people are going to call you more irresponsible. They're going to judge you more. They're going to shame you more. But look, I was lucky because I wasn't getting laid at 16, so it didn't run into this issue. But that I didn't do anything monumentally life-changing at the age of 16. But I did plenty of stupid things because I was 16 and I was a young teenager. She was a young teenager having fun. And yes, she was irresponsible like a lot of us. And so I didn't mow the lawn. She got pregnant.
Yeah.
So I know it's a little different. But what would you have done? What would I have done? I don't know. I know what conservatives do oftentimes. They'll go get the abortion. And then there was a story we told once of a woman who went and was a picketer at abortion lines, got an abortion inside, went outside and picketed again.
Oh my God.
And she did that because she's like, no, I'm not whores like the rest of them. I just caught a bad break and got pregnant.
What about that Desjardins guy?
Yeah, the congressman from Tennessee, 3 abortions that we know of with his wife and mistress. He said, yeah, but they really needed those abortions. We couldn't afford those kids. Oh, I see.
It was inconvenient for you to have a kid, so it was okay.
Right.
All right. So Chelsea Handler continues to write, I didn't have just one abortion. I had 2 in the same year, impregnated by the same guy. I didn't have the money the second time. I had to scrape together the $230 to pay Planned Parenthood, but it was a safe abortion. So I want to focus on the fact that she had to pay, because one of the pieces of misinformation that you get from conservatives all the time is that your taxpayer money is going toward these abortions. No, they're not. Planned Parenthood gets audited. They are not allowed to spend any taxpayer money, any federal or state funding on abortions. That is illegal, okay?
I want to focus on the safe part because she likely would have had those abortions anyway, even if it was illegal. We know because abortion used to be illegal in some parts of the country, and people would get back alley abortions. And you know what would happen? A lot of times they'd die. So Chelsea, and that, by the way, that doesn't help anybody. The kid dies as well. If you think it's a kid and you thought it was alive, well, when the mom dies, what you think is a kid also dies. It doesn't help anybody. And instead, Chelsea Handler survived, had a perfectly good career. Conservatives should be thrilled at the the input she's had into the economy as a wealthy person. They're probably on her side now that she makes good money.
Probably.
And would the same thing happen if she had decided to have the kids? I don't care, because it wasn't my decision. It was her decision to make.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to butt into her life over it. And so I want to tell you about an amazing fact I found out because of this story too. And I'm embarrassed that I didn't know it before. But it goes to how prevalent abortion is and why it's important to speak out. 1 in 3 women in the United States will have an abortion before the age of 45. I bet you that if you asked people, especially if you ask conservatives, what percentage of women get abortions? Because in their mind, they think, oh, those are the really promiscuous ones, and that's crazy, and that doesn't happen to real women I know. It's like, yeah, not 1 in 3 women I know. Yeah, it is. It's 1 in 3 of women, all women, including the ones you know. So my guess is they would think that it's a much, much lower number. But the reality is that's a gigantic number, and yet it's all in the closet. They're too scared to talk about it because there's crazies that don't not only shame you, but sometimes put you in danger over it. So it takes a lot of courage for Chelsea Handler to come out and say, yeah, damn it, like 1/3 of women, I did have an abortion, and that's my choice. And I love her for that. I think that was a great, bold choice to make in terms of coming out about it and telling us about it. In terms of the decision to have the abortion, it's not my body, and it's not your body, and it's not any of your business. It's her business.